A very good evening, everyone. A hearty welcome to the 4 workshop series on rising above crisis. In the current times, the more we have the opportunity to connect, share, and learn from each other, the more we can rise above the crisis together. My name is Jyoti Ganapati. I'm a HR professional and passionate about holistic well-being. It is my absolute pleasure to facilitate today's session on the theme of emerging stronger. So welcome all. I'm also very happy to introduce our speaker today, Prashant Vasu. He is currently the president of strategy at Ramco Group. Prior to his current role, he's been a partner in McKinsey & Company to close to 20 years. He's based out of Chennai, and he's quite passionate about classical music, tennis, and reading, apart from being a very heartful volunteer at the Heartfulness Institute. So Prashant, a hearty welcome to you too, to the session today.
Thank you very much, Jyoti, and I feel grateful to be part of this session. And as you know, as a service organization, the Heartfulness Institute is both privileged and delighted to offer such sessions during these pandemic times, especially so during these times. I also want to take a moment to uh, thank and applaud the several participants who have joined this program, especially on a Friday evening, and who are investing their time into this. I hope it's a fruitful investment of time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. We are looking forward to make this next 1 hour special and something fruitful for everybody who's taken this time to join us today. So Prashant, as you rightly said, the current pandemic has changed life for everyone. What has been your experience of the last 18 months or so, especially in the context of your profession and working life?
Okay, I'll try and share what might be relevant at this point in time. Clearly, this pandemic has changed the life for almost everybody in some shape or form. For me, I'd say both personally and professionally, there have been some changes. In the first phase of the pandemic, which was pretty much the whole of last year, there was of course the adjustment phase of beginning to work from home. At that time, I was still with McKinsey, so there was about interactions with clients that were remote and so forth. And we didn't have the magic of meeting clients in person, which is something that we treasure a lot. And that in-person connection was something that we had to kind of circumvent. In the latter half of the year, I went through a professional transition. That's when I was kind of in the process of moving on from McKinsey to another chapter in these times. Starting January, I've been with the Ramco Group, so it's been an interesting transition now for the last, amidst this pandemic, and that too in two parts. The first part was, where we could meet people, but still with masks and so forth. But in the second part, since say April or mid-April, since the pandemic has assumed quite a punishing proportion in India, it's pretty much been working from home in that sense. Nothing too different, I suppose, from what most people are facing. That's on the professional side, but as we all know, we can't isolate professional life like that. Our personal context as well has an impact on our professional effectiveness and efficiency. And our daughter was in Singapore doing her undergraduate. She was literally in her second year, and we did not have the opportunity to go there and meet her. And she was actually in a little bit of a she had a little bit of a health setback. So we were, both my wife and I were quite concerned in that phase. So in some shape or form, the pandemic has taken its toll on everybody. I think it has some effect on everybody, maybe to varying degrees. And I don't think I'm any exception to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for sharing those bits about your personal life, Prashant. As parents, it could always be very challenging to go through this experience. But coming to this context of heartfulness, How do you see these times the need for something like heartfulness?
Okay. So I want to first assure the audience that this is largely going to be like the previous time as well, an experiential session. And before maybe I share a few thoughts on this just to tee up the session, I'd love to kind of understand, or it'll be lovely for us to understand how the audience
Yeah.
is feeling at this point in time. So we have a poll that is set up that I'm going to request that we bring up. Um, This is probably one of the few times when we'd encourage you to use your phones or your other alternative devices during this program. The rest of the time, we'd probably be in practice. May I request the audience who joined us to take out your phone or your any other device and go into this www.menti.com, and I hope you're able to see the code on the screen. It's 32770606. You can be assured that this is an anonymous survey, so we won't know who said what. So please feel free to share your views there. There are 4 questions we've asked you in the poll. The first is about what is your mood in these times, and there are 3 or 4 options, 4 options that we've offered you. The second question is more about the second question is about how do you view the future, your outlook on the future, and as you'll see, we'll kind of put up the results soon. The third question is more about what are we doing about it? Are we taking any action to remain positive in these times, or adopting any new habits? And there are a few options there. And the final question is about why am I here? What is inspiring me to be here? So as the audience takes its time to respond to those questions, maybe should I, in that time, just share a few
Yeah,
comments, Jyoti? Will that be helpful?
absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
So I guess your question was, how do I see these times and the relevance of heartfulness in these times?
Yep.
Um, Maybe 2 or 3 comments. The first thing is that these are very hard times and unprecedented for us. We are dealing with an unusual situation that we have not dealt with. The second wave of the pandemic in India has been particularly punishing, and for almost all of us, it's come very close to home. So one can quite expect a base level of anxiety and fear that might be resident in people, and a sense of unease because the entire routine and rhythms of life have had to be adjusted. People conducting weddings remote. So many things have changed, right? That special events in people's lives we are not able to go through, and uh, you know when we conducted a similar poll with one of the large corporates, we recognized that about 70% of the people were actually feeling a reasonable degree of unease and anxiety, if you will. So I think that's the first comment. There is something out there. I'd be unsurprised if we see similar
Yeah.
results now, but let me not bias it. The second comment is that, at least from what I'm sure all of us have been exposed to in heartfulness and otherwise, there is a need for us to adopt some sort of a practice or some mechanism by which we can restore some degree of balance and positivity in ourselves. Because as we have learned, otherwise the mind is predisposed to reside on the negative in its attempt to protect ourselves. The brain is predisposed to reside on the negative. So we need to counter that with actions and practices that turn us to be a lot more present and optimistic. So and when we did a similar poll in another context, which we're also doing now, we found that there was typically a one third split in that, a third of the people were adopting such new habits and seeing positive results. A third were doing something but not necessarily seeing any results. And another third were not quite uh, making any
Hmm.
changes, um, and were probably hoping for this pandemic to go away. And I guess different people's contexts are different, but to the extent that we are able to do something about it, it's very helpful to have habits that can restore positivity in us.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting that you said um, about what you recently saw in an organization. But I think now let's look at what our audiences are saying as a response to this survey. So if we can bring that up, let's look at what our participants have to say. Okay.
Okay, so it looks like it's a nice 50-50 split. That's interesting. This seems like
Mm.
a more balanced audience, if you will. I wonder if people here are already doing so. We'll soon find that out. About 54% of the people are stressed, either mildly or extremely, but almost another 47%, 46% are either cheerful or balanced. So it's kind of sitting in the middle somewhere.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's see how many people have responded though. Uh,
close to 100 people.
100, is it? Okay. That's a small sample set, but typically things don't change. It's quite representative. Okay. So this is interesting. This is quite interesting to note that notwithstanding the current level of stress and anxiety people may be experiencing, most people are optimistic about the times to come. That's nice to know.
Yeah.
Either either quite optimistic or cautiously optimistic. So that's quite pleasant to know. On a lighter vein, we should probably find out how many people are practitioners of heartfulness already. I wonder if that's biasing the response. I have consciously adopted new habits to keep me positive in these times. It's very nice to know that over half this audience is doing something about it and seeing the effect of it. That's very good to know. And 85% of the people, 55 plus 29, are trying something or the other. That's very nice. Um, and a 15%, hopefully, the session will inspire you to kind of make some attempt and take some action. We wish you the very best. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, one word to describe why I'm here. Okay, what's the word cloud telling us?
Learn.
Learn, peace, positivity, meditation. What else are you seeing? Are you able to see anything clearer?
Curious.
Learn is study. Curious.
Curious.
Inspiration.
Inspiration. Yeah. Hope. Maybe to strengthen the positivity, probably as we saw, 50% of the people are feeling positive, optimistic. Maybe this is another way of, they engaging into strengthening that attitude of hope and positivity about the future. Outlook, curious. I see some of those words. Otherwise, it's very hard to
Clarity.
read
Yeah,
the rest. But awesome. I mean, this
nice.
is absolutely very nice. About we are having a mix of participants, Prashant. I think it's very interesting to know that everybody has taken some effort. 50% of them have taken an effort to figure out and learn something new to bring about that balance, or try to be optimistic with everything that's happening around us. So that reinforces the idea of these sessions, as well as our effort to make the rest of the people also think alike and take some action. So what do you suggest next, Prashant, looking at
I
this
think
result?
we can, if looking at this, since most people are curious to learn, it might be helpful for us to start moving towards the practice.
Okay.
Um, is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's ask ourselves the question, what is the purpose of a practice? What is the practice that we actually need in this time? And I'll kind of propose something and then lead us on to the specific practice itself. The practice that we really need is a practice that settles the mind and brings it to us to the here and now, if you will. It's not that we are not going to be confronted with difficult situations, unusual situations, but a mind that is in the present and in the here and now has a greater capacity to deal with the uncertainties and the unsettledness that we are confronted with. So that's really the need of the hour in terms of what the practice needs to do for us. I also want to add that just the encouragement that, be positive, stay positive is well meaning, but it's often not effective because most of our thoughts are governed by what is going on in the subconscious mind. It's not something we can just consciously psych ourselves to. And therefore, we need practices that clear the clutter, clear the stress and the strain from the subconscious system that we have, and then restore the mind to a state of stability and balance. And that is where we are going to take up two specific practices today of heartfulness. Some of you who joined last time may have joined last time, may have experienced the practice of meditation. But today we'll take up two practices. We will first do the practice of what is called cleaning or rejuvenation for about 10 minutes. And then we will do the practice of meditation for another 10 minutes or so. Let me briefly explain each of these practices and how we go about them, and then we can get into it. Is that okay?
Yep.
So the practice of cleaning, the purpose of cleaning is to help us emotionally detox and to kind of unburden ourselves from the impressions of positivity, negativity, etc., that we experience during the course of the day. So what we do in the practice of cleaning is we sit very comfortably in a posture that is comfortable to us. It's not necessary to sit cross-legged. Only thing is, in all heartfulness practices, we don't rest our head. We might then, in the relaxed state, go to sleep. So what we do here in cleaning is we sit in a comfortable posture, center ourselves, settle ourselves, and we start with a positive suggestion that we are already clean at the end of the process. Then we make a suggestion that all impurities and complexities are leaving my system from the back, that is the top of the head to the tailbone at the bottom of the back. All impurities and complexities are leaving my system from the back in the form of smoke or vapor, and we apply our will behind this process as if we are pushing these impressions and impurities away. We do this for a while, slowly accelerating the process. And after a while, when we feel a bit lighter, to fill the vacuum that is created, we make a suggestion that a sacred current of purity and simplicity from the source is entering our system from the front and clearing away all the impurities and complexities. And this sacred current is filling our entire system, every cell in our system. So I will guide you through this process for the first 10 minutes, step by step. After that, we will conclude this process and just move into meditation. In heartfulness meditation, the way we do this is when I say please start meditation, you gently close your eyes will anyway be closed, and you make a gentle suggestion that there is a source of light in the heart around the area where you feel your heartbeat. You don't have to be precise about it, but around the area where you feel the heartbeat, you make a gentle suggestion that there is a source of light there already present, drawing your attention inwards. And you simply rest your mind in the heart without any strain or force. Because meditation means effortless focus on one thing for a period of time. So just gently rest your attention in the heart without forcing your mind. After about 10 minutes, I'll say that's all, and you can open your eyes. Actually, that is all it is. The only caveat while meditating is that the only point I'll make is that when we close our eyes, thoughts will arise. But these thoughts are not coming. They are actually leaving us. They are arising from our subconscious system to leave us. So in heartfulness, we simply ignore thoughts and allow them to leave without trying to suppress them. You would do well to note that this process of meditation in heartfulness is supported by a very subtle energy called yogic transmission of pranahuti, and that facilitates the process of meditation and makes this experience truly transformative. We hope you will have that experience today. All we need to do is open our hearts and experience the support that we get through yogic transmission. So let me pause for about 30 seconds, allow you the time to settle down. You can keep your mobile phones, etc. away. Find a comfortable posture, and soon we will get into cleaning that I'll guide you through, and the meditation, which will happen silently after I say, please start meditation. We'll be silent for a while, and the next thing that you'll hear is that's all.
Thank you, Prashant, for those detailed guidance. I just want to remind our audience that we do have time for questions in the end. So as you experience, and after that or as of now, if you have any questions on your mind, you can put them on the chat window. And we'll spend some time at the end before we wrap up to really address any queries that you have. So all set to really experience the practice now.
Good. Please sit comfortably and close your eyes and make your breath normal. Take a few deep breaths to center yourself and relax your entire system. We will start with the practice of heartfulness cleaning. Please make a positive suggestion that you are already clean. Now please suggest that all impurities and complexities are leaving your system, and apply your will behind this thought in a firm but very gentle way. The impurities and complexities are leaving your system from the back, that is, the top of the head, to the tailbone. Now please suggest that the impurities and complexities are leaving your system from the back in the form of smoke or vapor. And continue applying your will behind this process. You may slowly start accelerating this process gently without any strain. If the mind wanders, gently bring it back to the cleaning. As you feel lighter, please suggest that a sacred current of purity and simplicity from the source is entering my system from the front and clearing away all these impurities and complexities. When impurities leave, purity comes in. When complexities leave, simplicity comes in. Please suggest that the sacred current is touching every cell in your system and clearing away all the impurities and complexities. The sacred current is filling the entire system from top to toe, and the entire system is now pure and simple. With this, we conclude the cleaning practice. We will now move to meditation. Please take a deep breath. Gently bring your attention to the heart, around the area where you feel the heartbeat, and make a suggestion that there is a source of light in the heart already present, drawing your attention inwards. And simply rest your mind in the heart without any strain. If thoughts arise, just gently ignore them, be unmindful of them. They are all arising to leave. Totally relax, and until I say that's all, please start meditation. That's all. But requested to please keep your eyes closed for another 30 seconds or so. Observe how you're feeling now. And when you are ready, you can gently open your eyes.
Thank you, Prashant. It's always difficult to speak up after a deep meditation experience. I'm very hopeful our people have enjoyed, and I'm watching the questions we're getting on the chat window.
Did we have a poll to do on how people are
Yeah,
feeling now?
absolutely. So, as we bring up a quick reflection from our audience on how they feel right now, if you can have the Menti Code reminder, it is the same code that you used earlier. You can also see the link in the description.
The emphasis is on after. I feel calmer and more relaxed after the meditation. That's the question.
Wonderful. So, Prashant, as we get some responses on this question, as people are reflecting, we have some questions. I think we'll get started with some of them. First, and the most common question that we get on this practice of cleaning is about what am I really cleaning? Do I have to be specific about what to clean? Can you explain a little on that?
Okay. So when we interact with this world, we go through ups and downs, right? We have maybe we had a difficult conversation, maybe we had something that really we were elated about during the day. These ups and downs that we undergo leave an imprint on us. They leave an impression, if you will, on us that tends to pattern our behavior. And generally, at the end of a workday, especially since we're talking in the context of professional life, one tends to feel a bit tired mentally. The cleaning eliminates the impressions that we have acquired during the course of the day and restores us to a state of balance and centeredness. So that is what we're cleaning. We are cleaning away the impressions that we have acquired during the course of the day.
Great. Thank you. I request our participants to keep the questions coming. We'll take as many as we can during the time that we have today. Another reflection, Prashant, interesting when I was having was especially personally, I saw the benefit of cleaning practice very early on. And it was interesting that I was able to get to a peaceful sleep. So this is my personal favorite of the practices in heartfulness. But in the context of today's theme, Prashant, of where we are saying how do we emerge stronger, can you share a little about, how does this technique really help us to become stronger or emerge stronger in the current context?
The foundation of emerging stronger is first to settle the mind. If the mind is predisposed towards negativity, we need to first clear and refine our consciousness of all this negativity so that we can then approach and confront our situation with clarity. That then paves the way for our emerging stronger out of a difficult situation. Otherwise, we are only able to see the challenge ahead of us. We are only able to see this as a major struggle and unable to perceive, uh, just unable to perceive that there even could be a hidden benefit amidst the struggles that we generally undergo in life. I've been very inspired by the story of Viktor Frankl, which whom many of our participants might have heard of. He's a Holocaust survivor, an Austrian psychiatrist who was in the concentration camp at Auschwitz. And just imagine such a successful psychiatrist. He is taken to the concentration camp. He loses his wife, who's pregnant with their child at that time, loses his parents, and is put through such severe atrocities there that one cannot even imagine. But he made three promises to himself. He said, I'll survive this crisis. Number two, that I will learn something out of it. And number three, that I'll contribute back to the world. And lo and behold, he did survive it, and he came up with a beautiful form of therapy for people called logotherapy that awakens people to their sense of meaning. And he wrote a very famous book. It's a beautiful read. I was quite astonished to read that book, and especially the first half, to see what people have had to overcome. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. But at the core of this, in our context today, he concludes that what we really need to overcome some of these crises is hope. And people who died in the concentration camp were not those who could no more take the physical atrocities, but who could no more, who had kind of lost a sense of hope. And a settled mind is crucial for us to be able to access hope, access positivity, this feeling that the beautiful Sufi story that this too shall pass. So that's what our practices do. Rather than theorizing about it, they give us a real way to eliminate the impressions and negativity, install positivity. Yogic transmission is the energy of love. When we receive that, we become, something happens to us that's miraculous.
Absolutely. And it is best experienced than explained. But another question, last session, last Friday, we learned about meditation. And today we're learning about the cleaning technique. So little guidance to our audience on when do we meditate and when do we do cleaning?
Okay, so the cleaning practice is to be taken up on three occasions. The first occasion is for about 5 to 10 minutes in the morning before our morning meditation. The second occasion is for about 15 to 30 minutes after we come back from the day's work, literally to detox and then to engage with the family. One of the corollary benefits of it is that it actually improves family relationships because we're kind of detoxing and then engaging with the family after a day's work. The third occasion when to do cleaning for about a few minutes is if something upsets us during the course of the day, then we can take a few minutes and do what is called spot cleaning. So those are the three occasions when we can do cleaning. We can, of course, always do it at other times too, but this is part of the regular routine of practice that we suggest. And meditation is generally to be done in the morning, soon after this 5 to 10 minutes of cleaning, for a period of about 20 to 30 minutes. If you're able to go longer and slowly build it up to about 45, 50 minutes to an hour, yes, but never more than an hour. That is what we suggest in Heartfulness.
Great, that should help about when to meditate and when to clean. There was an interesting question again. At the start of the cleaning practice, you mentioned that, or you suggested that you start the cleaning with the idea that I'm already clean. So why this suggestion upfront before starting the practice?
Very interesting. I don't know if we've been exposed to this idea of the law of attraction. Many people might already be that when we visualize a state, we bring it into reality already. I remember a hilarious incident. Um, I used to play competitive tennis as a little boy, and that was in the 80s. And I had some foreign coaches at that point in time, and that was the first time mental training was introduced into tennis. These coaches used to put us through a visualization process
Mm.
and say you imagine you're hitting an excellent serve, it's going there, the opponent is returning it, and then you're coming and hitting a volley to the other side, and then somehow the opponent scrambles and takes it, and then you smash a winner, and you visualize you're actually winning the point already.
Mm.
So that is the idea. You already can make a suggestion that the outcome that we want is already there. Uh, and then we go about the process. So it adds to our confidence. The attitude with which we do cleaning is very important, and the attitude of confidence is a powerful aid to the cleaning practice. And offering the suggestion in the beginning adds to our confidence.
Very powerful idea. Thank you for explaining that. Another question on cleaning that do I have to recall difficult or uh, difficult situations during the day that has happened to me or I have experienced during the cleaning process? Do I have to really be specific and recall?
Actually, not. And that is what we suggest in Heartfulness is that we adopt a general process of cleaning. We don't get into the specifics, but we do stay attentive to the practice, to the process of cleaning, because it is an active process. So our will needs to be active, that we need to be aware that we are going through the process of cleaning, but we don't clean specifically. In fact, it is counterproductive to recall specific instances of the day. That's what we're trying to get rid of.
Perfect. Taking a few questions on meditation now. So one of the, again, popular question on meditation typically comes in is about that how do I really focus on the source of light in my heart? It's very difficult to kind of get there or pinpoint there. So what's the recommendation guidance for new meditators?
Okay. So we don't need, it's only a suggestion that we provide in the beginning, that there is a source of light in the heart, as if we are turning on a television and watching it. We are not, we don't go on turning on the television, right? Or when we turn a light on, we're not constantly turning it on. So we just need to make a suggestion in the beginning, and after that, rest our attention in the heart, not try to see any light. Simply rest our attention on the heart and chill out. That's what we really need to do. So we don't need to struggle to try and see anything.
Right. And another question related to meditation usually comes in, and some of our audiences are asking here, is about the fact that can this meditation be done with a mantra chanting or with a music, and does it have to be a silent meditation?
Well, some of our more recent guided practices have provided some sort of guidance during the meditation itself. But in heartfulness in general, we actually remain silent during meditation. We want to go beyond the senses and go straight into ourselves, to the deepest core of our being. And that's the reason why we don't divert our attention with any sort of music or with any visual images and so forth, so that we go beyond that. That's part of the reason why we keep our eyes closed, so that our eyes are not drawn to the external world. We want to go way beyond the body to the deepest core in us. So our general suggestion would be give us the opportunity to give oneself the opportunity to go within in silence. And the support of yogic transmission of pranahuti enables this process, so we can do it with confidence. In fact, maybe we should even see the results of our poll and
Yep.
see how people felt after the meditation.
Yeah, that'll be
And we,
interesting. Can we get that up, please? Okay.
oh, so there were only 53 responses, I suppose. But is it not striking that 51 out of the 52 felt calmer and more relaxed after the meditation? And we normally see this when we do conduct these sessions for large groups in schools, colleges, corporates, etc. This is not an uncommon finding. It's 90% of the people either completely agree or somewhat agree that they feel calmer and more relaxed after the meditation.
And isn't that beautiful that just, 15, 20 minutes of an exercise, a practice like this can actually make us feel more calm and relaxed. So, especially for new meditators, Prashant, the usual question is, how long should I meditate? And usually I find it difficult to meditate, to keep my eyes closed. So, is there any general guidance on, especially for beginners? Is 5 minutes good enough? 10 minutes? What's really important to just begin the practice?
Okay, okay. Uh, uh, we generally say start with 5 to 10 minutes of cleaning and 20 to 25 minutes of meditation, but people can ease into that. It's fine to start with 5 minutes of cleaning and say 5-10 minutes of meditation, and then build it out there.
Okay. Yep. So starting is important, and the time is not so much of importance. Even if you can do 5 minutes on a daily basis, and based on experience, one could continue to expand that time.
Yeah, we
Excellent.
we progressively we'll feel more effect obviously if we sit for the 15 to 20 minutes or so, but
Hmm.
we can start somewhere and cultivate the habit and allow it to grow into us.
Great. There's another interesting question about, the negative bias that you mentioned earlier in the call. So, one of our participants wants to know, are there any tips on changing a negative mindset to a positive one through meditation?
Okay, so it's a very interesting question, and the first suggestion that I'd have is that at least in heartfulness, what we recommend to people is that it's better when we are feeling a bit down. If we are feeling a bit down, it's better to clean than to meditate. It is better to clean than to meditate. If we are very down and depressed, it's counterproductive to meditate. So I just wanted to clarify that from a practice perspective. But there are 3 or 4 other things that we can actually do in general to kind of heighten our positivity in this time. At least those are things that have worked for me that I can share. Number one is, adopt some routines that kind of give us energy. For example, apart from a nice morning rhythm that includes meditation, I started learning music once again over the last year and a quarter. Now, I know my music teacher must be suffering me, but at least I am having a great time, right? It kind of infuses positive energy. Um, and many other little techniques, but I'm watching the clock and, you know, uh, at this point in time. So
Yeah.
I'll hand it over to you to decide how you want to take it forward.
Yeah, no, Prashant, I think it's been interesting and more questions are coming our way, but I think we will close with a promise that all the questions that are on the chat, we'll definitely address them. We'll get them across to you because you've registered and you've been on this call. So please watch for our email communication. But I think it's been a wonderful conversation and learning today. So once again, want to thank each one of you who took the time to be with us today and to be a very, very participative audience. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Prashant, for taking the time. Any closing comments from you to our audience as we wrap this beautiful session?
No wish. We are very grateful to be of support and service on behalf of the Heartfulness Institute, and we wish everybody, our heart goes out to all who are in going through very trying times, and we really wish everybody the very best. And if we can be of support and service to you going forward, and you'd like a greater exposure to this practice, please do get in touch with us, and we'd be happy to help. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you. Just the last two reminders. The Menti survey continues to be open. There's a question if you are interested to receive more information or support on heartfulness practices, please leave your email ID. Number two, we'll see you again next Friday with another interesting topic and another new heartfulness technique to share and learn together. So with that, thank you so much once again. Stay home, stay safe, take care. Bye-bye.